So welcome back. Over the last couple of nights I managed to get the header bolted in place, so it now has lag bolts attaching it to the king studs. Today I want to get the jack studs in place, and once that's done then I can start hanging floor joists, so that'll be nice. So my first jack stud's going to go here. Well, I'll actually probably have two. This existing stud, which I believe is just a nailer for this wallboard here, isn't exactly true. It's on quite an angle, so I need to make sure that when I put my jack studs in, they're vertically straight up and down. So I'm going to have to build some spacers, I think, to adjust for the difference in the angle of this particular stud. So I'm going to get started on that. Okay, so what I've done is I've attached just a spacer to this top end, and then I'm going to use it to determine what I need for spacers the rest of the way. Now I can check it for level. Take some measurements. There we go. So, down at the bottom there's quite a bit of a gap, and as we work our way up, the gap narrows to about an inch. At the bottom it's probably 2.5 inches. So now I'm going to cut some spacers. So here's my next piece. Let's mark it. And I will attach it. Pretty darn good. Alright, here's the next piece. It's got construction adhesive on the back of it. Perfect. Nice and true. pretty pleased with this. It's nice and strong, it's true, and it gives good support for the header. So 2 more to go. So now that that's in place, I need to figure out my rough opening for the door. I want 8 feet, so it's going to be 8 feet from that edge of those jack studs over here somewhere. And where it lands, that's where I'll place my next set of jack studs. So I think the easiest way to do this is just from this sill plate here. I'll just mark 8 feet, and that's where my jack post will go. So I'm doing some extra measuring here. I want the door to be centered on this wall, and I took a measurement from the outside wall to the jack studs that I put here, which is going to be my rough opening, and it was like 91 inches. And then I did the same thing on the other side, assuming an 8-foot door, and I fell about 14 inches short. So I'm thinking maybe I'll go with a smaller door, like a 7-foot opening. That'll allow it to be more centered. It will be out a couple of inches, but I don't think you'll notice that from like the road or anything. But it'll be a lot more centered on this wall than going with an 8-foot door. That's unfortunate because I really like the idea of having 2 4-foot doors, but you know, 7 feet's pretty close too, so I'm going to go with that. I'm going to cheat a little bit and use my bottle jack. Bit of construction adhesive on that. good. Perfect. Last one. So I'm going to put one more jack stud here, just to support this end of the header and to splice these two studs here. So here's my last jack stud. I'm just going to put some construction adhesive along the back. It's been another long day in the barn, but we made some progress. The rain finally stopped enough that I was able to cut the jack studs. So we're now good. They're installed. Tomorrow, actually probably the next day, I will be hanging some floor joists. So that'll be nice. Let me show you what I got done today. So here's the left side of the header. This is the outermost jack stud that I've just put in now. It does two things. It's carrying the end of the header. It is also marrying these two studs. They were cut somewhere in here. So it's bridging that splice and tying them together. It's glued and nailed in place. The header itself is lag bolted in through this particular stud. These two here will make up the new left side of my door, so they are perfectly true, straight up and down, and they, I imagine, are carrying the bulk of this load above the header. I still need to put in some cross supports, but I'll get to that at a later date. On this side of the header, I have two more jack studs, so they're carrying this existing load. There is actually a third jack stud here that was originally there and I just trimmed it to fit, but it's not true enough to actually make up a door opening. As you can see, the further I went down, the more spacers I had to put in, or the thicker the spacers got. So it's about 3 inches down here at the bottom, and then at the top it's less than an inch. So it was out quite a bit, and it's also twisted. So I had to cut those spacers on an angle, which was even less fun. So they're in place, and they're perfectly true straight up and down as well. So not only are they carrying this load here, but they will make up the new rough opening for my door. The other thing is I had to resize the door. I originally wanted an 8-foot door, but after I measured this side of the barn and the other side of the barn, I realized that if I had an 8-foot door, it would actually be off center. So to center it, basically I shortened it to 7 feet and brought this side in, which is why these jack studs are here. So now it's almost perfectly centered. I think it's out 1.5 inches, but you'll never notice that. So ultimately I think that's going to be good. So next in the summer, or when the temperature warms up, I'll be able to just cut along these jack studs along the top here and along this jack stud, and I should be able to just tip this whole section of wall out. So that'll be nice. I look forward to actually being able to do that. And it's nice to actually know that the load above is being carried appropriately. What else? This end of the header is also lag bolted in, so I bought like 8-inch long lag bolts, which is as long as I could get them. So they actually run through this stud and into the header, same as on that side. So it's good and strong, good and secure, and I'm pretty happy. I know it's going to be a lot stronger when I'm finished. To do, I still need to attach these studs that are sitting on top of the header, just to nail them into the header so that they're not going to go anywhere. But considering that they're being held down by the roof, I'm not too worried about that. When I brought this end up to its final height, it actually picked up all 3 of these, so I know I'm good. So that's pretty much it for tonight. It's dark, I haven't had supper, and I got some errands to run tomorrow, and so I'll probably be Sunday, maybe Saturday. If I get back home soon, I'll be able to hang the headers, or not the headers, the joists, and start actually tying these walls back together. That would be nice, because just having these joists here is a bit of a worry for me. But knowing that, you know, for years now this building has sat here with very little actually holding it together, I'm not all that worried, but certainly more structure is definitely needed here. So I'll be happy once it's back. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks for watching, and tune in again. I will be continuing this project.